Good morning, students. Today we are going to take part E of chapter 6, that is the last part, where we'll be discussing on training and development. Training, in a layman's language, is a learning process whereby people learn the skills, attitudes, knowledge, and behavior needed to perform their job effectively. It is concerned with a particular and the current job normally in which the person is there. Development is a higher level, which is a broader term, and it aims to improve the overall personality of an individual as a professional, as a personal also. If we see why at all the need of training and development comes, why should we go for it? And a normal survey through a recognized institution says over 70% of the employees don't think that they are strongly fulfilling their job's goal. Then, 3 to 4 employees do not feel that they have opportunities for professional growth, and 75% of the millennials would consider leaving their job if they don't see option for professional development, and over 1 in 4 employee say they don't have the tools to be successful in their role. So cumulative impact of all the problem comes in the form of a solution that provide training and development to your employees. Now, once we are giving this training, both employer and the employee is benefited. Employer means from the organization point of view. So first we'll see how a employee as an individual benefits out of training. As you could see the man thinking on how do I benefit from training. One, we say the career part, that the more you know your work better, your option for growth increases. Then, second, salary part. If you're efficient and confident on your job, your remuneration part also increases. Then, the skill part. The skill required to do the job is there with you. And automatically, what happens when you have the skill, your level of confidence increases. Level of confidence increases. And last but not the least is a confident employee having the skills and is mentally satisfied about his remuneration part and career, is concentrating on the work, and the chances of accident reduces. The chances of accident reduces. So you could see all of them are intermingled with the biggest safety part, accident is reduced. Now, from the organization point, as you could see, automatically the productivity of the organization increases, the quality of the product is superior, the learning time is reduced. Then what we said, reduction in the accident, that means industrial safety is coming out. It's like saying two sides of the coin. One side benefit to the employee, the other side for the organization. Then reduction of the turnover and absenteeism. Normally what happens, you will find there are certain sessions at regular intervals in an organization where the work pressure increases. Where the work pressure increases. Now what happens if you start remaining absent at that particular time, or If you're not very much confident about the stress and strain of the job, you want to move out from the job. That means you're quitting of the job. So both of them is reduced. If you know your work, there's no question of being afraid and moving out or being absent on that particular day. If you say, for example, in teaching profession, there are regular sessions where we have board exams, copy checking session. These are areas where the teachers are a bit pressurized. But that never means that you would give sick leave during that period and sit at home. You need training for that to be confident enough to work. An organization benefits because you have to get the work from the employees only. You are not going to get somebody from outside. And if you know your work, you will never think about quitting off if you are properly being paid. So every time getting new employee, training them becomes expensive. Retaining the employees by providing them proper training is more important. Then whenever there is technology upgradation required, it is done through training, and the organization benefits in terms of having the latest in the market, and the management becomes efficient. Management becomes efficient. What you could see also, that worker and management shaking hand, having a better rhythm after training. Now, training methods is in your syllabus. Training process is not in your syllabus. Get the difference. The training method is broadly classified into two. Is broadly classified into two. On the job, off the job. On the job training means giving training to the employee within office premises and office working hour with the same level of stress and strain. With the same level of stress and strain. So wherever you find this, normal office working hour, number one. Number two, normal office duration with premises part, same premises. And number three, same level of stress and strain. If you say on the job training for the teachers, teaching in a vacant room is different. Teaching for one period is different, but taking 7 to 8 classes at a stretch with the strength of maybe 50, 60 in the class is where your on the job training is required. Normal working hour of 7 to 8 hours, normal school hours, school premises, and the same pressure of having 50 to 60 students with different mentality, and taking them into consideration how you are delivering your lecture. Next is off the job. Off the job is usually towards development part, where we are taking employee in a separate comfortable environment away from the normal official stress and strain, and people from different platform, they share their problems, then they go for discussing and developing new ways and means to work on the problem, right? So development is by keeping a person comfortable and providing him more with the knowledge and discussion part. Then what you could see in a specific form on the job training, what we say is OGT, is a form of training taking place under a normal working situation. What is visible over here also, and off the job is more in the form of a classroom session which takes place away from the immediate workplace, and includes more of general skills and knowledge useful for the work. Then, in your syllabus, on the job training is only there. On the job training is only there, and I'll be putting up a separate slide on two controversial on the job training methods, coaching and vestibule, because your NCERT and CBSE has a different interpretation, so I'm not taking in this normal routine session, because here you only get case studies related to the three that we have dealt in this. So on the job training, what you could see, you are learning, you are earning, you are taking a lead also. And a common interpretation, tell me, I listen, show me, I see, involve me, I understand. So you are being involved. Now we are coming to different types of apprenticeship. Sorry, on the job training, where the first one, which is the most basic form of training, is apprenticeship. Is apprenticeship, where normally low level employees and workers are involved, and they are to gain skills by observing their trainers. It is a slow process. For example, plumber, electrician, drivers, they are the ones who are in a continuous longer session with their trainers to learn the skills. The ability of the trainer and trainee, more than trainer, it is the trainee, how fast you are in catching up those things. For example, if we see a driver who has properly gone for apprenticeship in the form of being a helper, what we say as khalasi initially, every driver has to go for that. Now once he understands the intricate detailing of how to move on highways, up hills, down hills, U-turn when it is sharp cuts, when the vehicle is vacant, the master trainer, or whom we say ustad in normal terms, hands over the steering to you, and slowly you start learning how to work on it. Same is with the tailors also, that you have to initially work under somebody and then you learn and work independently. So it's a slow process, and usually at lower level. Usually at lower level. It is the basic form of on-the-job training. Next, we are coming to the second one, which is internship. As you could see, students getting in with bags at their back and coming out with the suitcases in their hand. You could see the difference. Student entering and professional coming out. For a professional, as a part of course curriculum, as a part of course curriculum, you are to undertake this procedure, and a stipend is given, which is a nominal amount, but is being given to you, and you are given an exposure of real life professional. Real life professional. For example, doctors, they go for internship, lawyers, they go for it, CAs, when they are doing articleship under a chartered accountant, they are going for it. So it is usually meant as a part of course curriculum for the professionals. Is job rotation. Job rotation, which is more than flexibility, something more than flexibility. Normally, in a conservative sense, people say to be flexible, but here. And in job rotation, what happens? A person as a professional might be capable of working on different work tables. Capable of working on different work tables. Now, a person is made to move from one work table to other on which he is eligible to work. This ventilates multitasking. This ventilates multitasking. For example, we'll take two examples. One, in the form of the diagram, what you could see, a nurse who's being trained could be given duty in a maternity ward, in pediatrics, or in geriatrics, in any department. Then, second, relevant to what you people are going to be there, as an accountant trainee, you would be working in different sections of finance department like paybill section, cash section, contract section, provident fund section, supplier bill section, taxation section, and so on. Now, the purpose of this is that any time I can go for reshuffling depending upon the crisis or the requirement. Maybe you are very knowledgeable as accounts professional, and we say you are talented enough to take care of the taxation department, which for a layman is supposed to be the most tough area for finance. And I'm sorry to use that word, but paybill section, provident fund section, in most of the organizations, it is given as a compensatory job to the widows of the employees who have gone for some accidental death or other way around, because it is comparatively an easier job in those areas. Now, still you are being trained on all the departments so that if required, you could be posted on any one of the work table. Now, these three are the core ones in your syllabus for case study as well as question on the job training. Next, we come down to the advantages and the disadvantages of on the job training to the employer, right? If we say advantage, you are not praying separately to any company or college, then senior, highly skilled and experienced staff of the same organization can train the new ones. For example, a senior teacher who's experienced can train the new ones who are coming in the organization. Then is the bonding that is improved in between the learner and the workplace. Then in-house training team which is being developed. Disadvantage is somewhere productivity is uh, I'll say disturbed, because when the person is on a learning phase, you cannot be very sharp and rigid to be on a faster mode. Now, most of the skilled employees have to, for the time being, leave their job to guide the new ones. Now, the skill learns are the job specific, leaving staff less flexible to the changing rules, and a business can be isolated, failing to keep up to date with new methods and ideas. Because you're within the organization, you're not going outside, right? Now, next, what happens if we see as a conclusion part, we are saying training is for skills and behaviors for that particular activity, and development is a continuous improvement of the personality of the person to take up future positions in the organization, to take up the future positions in the organization. Now, if we see the difference between the training and development, Training is skill focused, and development is more on the learning abilities. Training is presumed to have a formal approach. Development is not formal in a way. It is to make you comfortable, then go for it. Training depends upon the gray areas or the deficiency areas of the employees. Development depends upon the personal drive and ambition, to what extent you want to move. Then training is a narrower concept, development is a broader concept. Training is to improve the skills on the existing job, and development is for overall personal effectiveness, including job efficiency. So development includes training, and if we say still a higher level, training, development, education. With this, I thank you all for being with me. Once again, I wish all the best for my students appearing for boards. And I would say, once you stop learning, you start dying. So keep on learning.